Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to CA Final RPL Day 4 of Auditing session. I am Avinash Kulur. So it's been 4 days that we have started. Yeah. So first of all, before I start, am I audible to you? Am I audible to you? Am I audible? Please let me know. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I see a lot of messages. Am I audible to you? Yes. Am I audible to you? Can you hear me? Yes. Nice. All acha, sir. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. So, it's the fourth day today. It's been 3 days that we have started our journey, audible and visible. Thank you so much. So, yeah, so today we will be doing with company audit, as I told you, company audit portions. We will try to cover those portions. Now, before I just start the particular lecture, let me just tell you. One is thing is that there is a small power issue here right now. So the power is not there. So till I hope the power will come back. It will resume. But in case there is a power shortage and the inverter, the power supply does not allow me to continue, maybe we'll have to wind up the session quickly today. But I think RPL is there till June 10th and it continues for so many more days. And there are slots available where I can come and teach you. So I will extend my lecture. I have given 5 days, but I can extend for 1 or 2 days. That is okay. Okay. So that way we will surely think about. No, don't worry about that. Okay. Because right now I don't, I trust that the power issue will be solved. But if in case there is the current does not come back, the power shortage is there, we might not be able to continue. So you will have to just excuse me for today. I hope you understand. I hope you understand because this is not in our hands. So I have contacted the department. They have told that it would be fine very soon. But in case there is prolonged issue, then we will have the session postponed. Okay, tomorrow, fourth day, I did 5 days is what I have planned, but I can continue for maybe next week. I will plan for 1 or 2 days of session, and I will keep you informed in the Telegram channel of Revision Premier League, and you can access the live lectures. Okay, so that is how. Just wanted to give you this. Yeah, so there are a lot of students who are asking me about kindly help on miscellaneous topics. Yeah, so miscellaneous topics I would surely give you an idea how to go through. If possible, I'll also plan some revision lectures and some quick revision capsules on the miscellaneous topics also, as many students are approaching me for that topic. But not very quickly, but I will keep you posted. You can, as I said, I'll give you the details about my channel and my upcoming classes and all that. You can access those classes whenever it is being uploaded. Okay, so that we can surely think about. Okay, uh, so now July examinations, I don't think we'll have to comment on the July examinations right now, because see, it is not within our control. Right now, the examinations are to be held in July and August. So the institute is very clear about the conduct of examinations, and they have said they will conduct the examinations, and even June 7th or 9th to 9th, I think there is a correction window also open for the students. So right now the examinations will be conducted. There is no change as far as the examination dates are concerned. So I think it should go that way. As a CA student, we should be focused on studying. Whenever the exam is, give me the paper, I will write the paper. That should be the confidence of a CA student. Okay, July exams, if it is there, you keep the exams. I'm ready, I'll pass the exam. November, okay, fine, November, I'll come and write the exam. It should be a final attempt, one attempt that you're going to write. it should be like the final attempt. So anyways, whenever the exam happens, okay, whenever the exam happens, it will be the last attempt that we are going to write. That should be the focus of a CA student. So right now, don't even think about how the examination would be, when the examination will be. All those things you just forget. Just focus on learning the topics. Okay, fine. So then Caro, so you want to discuss with Caro. See, now what happens is you will be focusing on, there are a lot of topics that you want me to discuss. I will tell you because there are anyways in July we have exams only in July, so there are a lot of days left. We can plan a lot of revision lectures in the coming days. In this July month we can have it in June end, and many things can be planned. Okay, so right now I am already having some commitments here and there, but surely I will find time for you all because you have been very good to me. So I will surely find time for you all to come up with the revision lectures. Okay, whatever little revision lectures I can give you. Fine. Okay, so let's start today's session. Okay, let's start today's session of company audit. Okay, so company audit basically it's an IPCC it's basically an IPCC topic, but still for the examination it would be asked here and there. It has been asked. So I want to focus on few things here. One is we start with the eligibility, the appointment of an eligibility to be appoint a person as an auditor of a company. So eligibility, as you all know, to be appointed as an auditor of a company, a person will be eligible only if he is a chartered accountant. So the section 141 subsection 1 of the Companies Act is very clear that the eligibility to appoint a person as an auditor of a company, eligibility to appoint a person as an auditor of a company is basically that he must be a chartered accountant. He must be a chartered accountant. And then when you appoint a chartered accountant as an auditor of a company, he may be appointed in his individual capacity or he may be appointed in the capacity of a firm. That means you can appoint either an individual or you can appoint a firm as the auditor of a company. So the auditor could be either an individual or the auditor could be a firm. Now they are saying when you appoint a firm as an auditor in the firm name, okay, there is a condition which the firm needs to satisfy. They are saying the eligibility for a firm to be appointed as auditor of a company. The eligibility for an individual is that he must be a chartered accountant. But when a firm is being appointed as auditor of a company, majority of partners practicing in India should be qualified for appointment, which means what? The majority of the partners of that firm must be chartered accountants who are practicing in India. Chartered accountants who are practicing in India. Okay, so it's very clear. If you are appointing an individual, he must be a chartered accountant. If you are appointing a firm, then majority of the partners of the firm must be chartered accountants who are practicing in India. Okay, just listen to me. Okay, just listen to me and write down whatever is required and whatever doubts you get, because a lot of thoughts might come to your mind. Don't keep on putting those thoughts in the chat session, because a lot of things you might start deviating. Okay, so what if there is any doubt, you write in the notebook and keep. Okay, write in the notebook and keep. Then later on you can just post it here or maybe post in the comments later and I'll try to reply to those comments. Do you understand? So right now just trying to focus on what is given here. Okay, now so basically it is either individual or a firm. Now when a firm which includes an LLP is appointed as an auditor of a company, now you understand that the word used is majority of partners, which means when a firm is appointed as auditor of a company, it is not a must that every partner of the firm needs to be a chartered accountant practicing in India. That means the firm whose partners are non-chartered accountants also, the firm may be eligible to be appointed as auditor of a company if the firm's majority partners are practicing in India and they are chartered accountants. Correct? So that is why, now listen carefully, in Companies Act 1956, it was all partners must be chartered accountants practicing in India. But when it came to Companies Act 2013, the word all was was substituted with the word majority. Substitute with the word majority. So that means it is now allowing firms having non-chartered accountant partners to be eligible to be appointed as auditor of a company if the firm has majority partners as chartered accountants practicing in India. Are you getting my points? So in that case, what will happen? Imagine there is a firm with 10 partners. Imagine there is a firm with 10 partners. Now, when there is a firm with 10 partners, 10 partners. So, these particular firm, and there are 7 chartered accountants and 3 company secretaries. Okay, 7 chartered accountants and 3 company secretaries, all practicing in India. So in that case, this firm is eligible to be appointed as auditor of a company. But you can see here there are 3 partners who are company secretaries. They are the partner of the firm, then they have every right to be to speak on behalf of the firm, to sign on behalf of the firm, because they are the partner of the firm. But we know that to be an auditor, a person must be a chartered accountant. So for that purpose, what happened is section 141 had to introduce subsection 2, which said in case you are appointing a firm including an LLP as an auditor, only partners who are chartered accountants shall be authorized to act and sign on behalf of the firm. Only partners who are chartered accountants shall have the authority to act and sign on behalf of the firm. Are you getting my points? So basically, it is that only partners who are chartered accountants shall have the eligibility to act and sign on behalf of the firm. Now, why subsection 2 is introduced? Because the amendment in subsection 1. What changed in subsection 1? The word all was changed to majority. Now, what happened when majority was introduced? Non-chartered accountant partners could be there in the firm, and the Companies Act had to make sure that these non-chartered accountant partners in the firm should not sign the audit report or should not act as auditor. Okay, sir, why are you discussing this in detail so much? This is such a simple topic, but I'm saying integrated case study. Have you heard this integrated case study examination question that is going to come? Integrated case study. So right now, if you see integrated case study in your ICI website, if you go, you have your RTP, the latest RTP that is there in the ICI website, latest RTP. If you go through, you will see the integrated case study pattern. Okay, I'll just show you the integrated case study pattern. You have to understand how the integrated case study works. Now you see, in case of integrated case studies, you see a question here. The question says, just read this question. PQR Limited is one of the leading companies in cement manufacturing industry. Right from its incorporation, it has been a subsidiary of GDP Limited. Total shareholding of GDP Limited includes the following: Government of Puducherry and Government of Delhi each holding 19% of the paid up share capital. Government of Gujarat shares is 13.5%. I'll be discussing RTP in one of the sessions. Okay, but you understand what is given here. The first paragraph deals with the definition of government company. Don't you think? Because they're saying there are two governments holding 19%. That means what? 19% plus 19% will become 38%, and there is one more government who is holding how much? 13.5%. So my max is little weak. Anyways, it comes more than 50%, correct? The moment it is more than 50% where the government is holding, it becomes a government company. They start with the definition of government company. Then you see what is given here. On 27th August 2019, Mr. JJ, the auditor of PQR Limited, has resigned from his post, citing personal reasons. So there is resignation of the auditor. He forgotten to inform about his resignation. You know, when an auditor resigns, he has to inform within 30 days. Then casual vacancy arises. Then casual vacancy is filled by the company. All those things they have given. We'll read this later. So if you see this, again now they are talking about how the fees is being charged, how the recruitment is being done by the CA firm. Then they are talking about tax audit here. About company is having an annual turnover of 200 crores, hence it was liable for tax audit under 44AB. So in tax audit, what was found out, that details also they are giving you. So here in one particular case study itself, they are giving you questions from company audit. There is question from professional ethics. There is question from tax audit also. So it's a mixture of company audit tax audit, and what? Professional ethics. Mixture of company audit, tax audit, and professional ethics. Do you understand? So like this is the format of integrated case studies. This is the format of case studies. So what will happen basically is, because of the introduction of integrated case studies, because of integrated case studies, what is happening is every topic in company audit now will become important, because it can be easy with professional ethics. It can be easily be integrated with maybe other topics like audit committee and corporate governance. It can be audit, bank audit, lots of things where it can be linked. So company audit topic will be one of the most important topic required for integrated case study based scenario questions. Take it from me. Company audit is going to be one of the hot topics for integrated case study scenario based questions. So before, maybe company audit was not asked much, but right now I feel company audit is going to be one of the questions for the upcoming exams, whenever the exams is going to be. Do you understand? So please understand this integrated case study scenario. This is very, very important. Okay. Is there some lag? Is there some buffering issue? Are you facing some buffering issue? I can see some messages. I just wanted to confirm. Okay, just wait. I'll just take care of the buffering issue. Okay. I think now slowly things should go better. Okay, now it will be fine. Now it will be fine. I've just reduced. Now it's fine. Now it's fine. It's totally okay. Yes. Okay, the internet connection is a little down, I feel. So that is why you have the buffering issue. But anyways, I've reduced the bitrate. So I think because of the reduction of bitrate, now things should be better. Things should be better. So I've just taken care of it. Okay, it should be fine. It should be fine from now. Okay, if there's anything, please message me. I'll understand. Okay, fine. So please understand this integrated case study based scenario questions. It becomes very, very important to focus on the company audit portions. Okay, company audit portions. So that is why these topics become important. So this is qualification, eligibility and qualification of an auditor. Eligibility and qualification of an auditor. Now you have something called as disqualification of an auditor. Now what is this disqualification of an auditor? Disqualification of an auditor means there are certain situations where a person cannot be appointed as auditor of a company. Why? Because he is disqualified. Okay, that means he is eligible, but due to some other reasons he is becoming disqualified. He is eligible, but due to some other reasons he is becoming disqualified. Okay, he or the firm is becoming disqualified. So who is not eligible to be appointed as auditor of a company? Now first says a body corporate. A body corporate is not eligible to be appointed as auditor of a company. A body corporate is not eligible to be appointed as auditor of a company. But in the definition of body corporate, we have LLP. That is limited liability partnership. A limited liability partnership is basically your what? Limited liability partnership is basically a body corporate. Limited liability partnership is basically a body corporate. Do you understand? But here in eligibility, they are clearly saying that the auditor appointed, if it is a firm, the firm includes an LLP. The firm includes an LLP. So when I say firm includes an LLP here, now what they have done in disqualification is they have excluded LLP from the definition of body corporates, which means LLP is eligible to be appointed as auditor of a company. Do you understand? But LLP is actually a body corporate. Now many people have the doubt, sir, what is a body corporate? What is a body corporate? Body corporate basically means any body incorporated under an act. if there is any artificial body incorporated under an act, that is called as what? Body corporate. Do you understand? Any body incorporated under an act. Incorporated under an act. Do you understand? Incorporated under an act. Now a company is incorporated under Companies Act. Company is incorporated under Companies Act. So that is why company is a body corporate. LLP also needs to be incorporated. That is why LLP is also a body corporate. But for this particular discussion only, body corporate is, you exclude LLP from the definition of body corporate. Leave that. Now second disqualification. An officer or employee of the company. 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 Now you tell me, what is this officer or employee of the company? That means if there is a company who wants to appoint a person as an auditor, if there is a company who wants to appoint a person as an auditor, okay, they cannot appoint the officer of the company or employee of the company as the auditor of that company. Okay, so the officer or employee of the company is disqualified from being appointed as auditor of a company. Now, my question to you, listen to me carefully. Imagine Mr. A is a chartered accountant. I want answers now. Mr. A is a chartered accountant. He is in practice. Okay. He is the director. He is the director of small limited. He is the director of small limited. Can Mr. A be appointed as, auditor? Can be appointed as auditor of huge limited, which is the subsidiary company of, which is the holding company, of small limited. So Mr. A is a chartered accountant. Okay, and he is in practice. He is the director of small limited. Now, can he be appointed as auditor of huge limited, which is the holding company of small limited? That's my question. He is the director of small limited. Can he be appointed as auditor of huge limited, which is the holding company of small limited? Okay, many people are saying no. Many people are saying yes. So there are both the answers. Some people say yes, some people are saying no. Now, so we have to be very careful here. This is a very, very tricky question. Now, he is the director of which limited? He is the director of which limited? He is the director of small limited. Correct? So Mr. A is the officer of this company. He is the officer of this company. He is the director of small limited. And who is disqualified? Officer of the company is only disqualified. I asked you whether A can be appointed as auditor of which? Huge limited. A can be appointed as auditor of huge limited. Now, is A any officer or employee of huge limited? Is he officer or employee of huge limited? No, he is not. He is the officer or employee of which? Small limited. He is not the officer or employee of which? Huge limited. Please understand what the section says. The section says officer or employee of the company. Of the company is disqualified. Do you understand? Of the company. You know, whichever company you are the officer, that company you are disqualified. You can be appointed as auditor of any other company. Sir, what are you talking, sir? What are you saying? Sir, what about the independence of the auditor? If he is the director of small limited, sir, what about his independence? See, let me be very, very clear to you. In case when you are learning law, that is Companies Act, etc., at least what you are learning in audit law, you know, one thing that you have to be very clear. Stop using your common sense. Don't have any sentiments. and if you have, don't use your intelligence also. That is if you have. Do you understand? Don't use your intelligence also. Three things don't use. No common sense, no sentiments, no intelligence. Just focus on the provision. Now what the provision says, apply the provision, give the answer. Don't start thinking in your own way. Just apply the provision. Whatever the provision says, you apply that provision. That is how even the answer for company law is written. You know how the company law answer is written? You start with the provision. You start with what is the provision. Then you can give the facts given in the question. Then you analysis. What is analysis? Analysis provision versus facts. And finally you give your conclusion. Do you understand? So it is the provision which is very, very important. You first give the provision. What the provision says here? Now if the question is, now what is the answer for this question? The provision says, as per section 141 subsection 3 of the Companies Act 2013, subsection 3B of the Companies Act 2013, an officer or employee of the company is disqualified. Now what is the fact? Mr. A chartered accountant in practice, is the auditor of small limited, is the director of small limited. He is proposed to be appointed as auditor of huge limited, the holding company. Now you analyze. What is the analysis? Mr. A is the director of small limited, but not the director of which limited? Huge limited. Only the officer of the company is disqualified. What is the conclusion? Therefore, Mr. A is eligible to be appointed as auditor of huge limited. Do you understand? It's very, very important. That is why I have taken this topic. You feel it is very easy. You feel it is very easy. You feel you know it. But this is where you don't know. I know certain points where you have not focused. I know those points. That is why I'm taking this topic. For you, you might think, sir, miscellaneous topics, this, that, can you please take for me? I will take those topics. You will say, sir, company audit, no problem, sir, we know that. But I know there are certain key points which you will miss, which you will never focus on. That is why a faculty is here for you, to tell you which point you will miss. Do you understand? It is very, 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 very important. So basically, the officer or employee of the company is disqualified. Even your textbook has given the example. See how the textbook has given the example. It says a CA in practice is the director in RST Limited. On combined reading of section 141 subsection 3B and section 259, which gives the definition of an officer, it may be concluded that CAG would be disqualified to be appointed as auditor of RST Limited. Yes, disqualified. Why disqualified? Because he is the director in RST Limited. Now you see, GACA in practice is the director in Z Limited, holding company of RST Limited. So he is the director in Z Limited, holding company of RST Limited. On combined reading of section 141 subsection 3B and section 2 subsection 59, it may be concluded that CAG would be CAG, that is, he is not CAG, okay, chartered accountant G would be disqualified to be appointed as auditor of Z Limited. Why? Because he is the officer of that company, but would not be disqualified in case of RST Limited. But would not be disqualified in case of RST Limited. Are you getting my points? Why he will not be disqualified in case of RST Limited? Because he is not the officer of RST Limited. Hello. Is it getting inside your head? Do you understand? Of the company, very, very important. Of the company is very, very important there. Okay, this could be an expected question in the exam. Please be very careful. Now, one of the students asked me, sir, if a question comes like this for company audit, should we not apply standards on auditing? Take it from me. The question will be very clear. Answer as per the provisions of the Companies Act 2013. Do not apply standards. Just focus on Companies Act. You know, the question will be always very clear about it. You know, apply company audit. They'll say Companies Act. So you just apply it. Don't see, when we start thinking too much, maybe there is a twist. There's too much of things in the question. No, it is a plain simple question. You know, don't bring your independence, professional ethics, everything into the question. You see what question is being asked, how it is being asked. Sometimes if the question is about whether independence is affected, focus on independence. If the question is Companies Act, focus on Companies Act. If the question is professional ethics, focus on professional ethics. You know, never they will try to combine this unless and until it's an 8 mark, 10 mark question, which is not there right now. Do you understand? So it's very, very important to get this point. Very, very important. Now, moving forward. Next, third disqualification says a person who is a partner or who is in employment of an officer or employee of the company. I don't want to waste much time on this. That means the officer or employee of the company is disqualified. His partner, his employee is also disqualified. His partner, his employee is also disqualified. Do you understand? That is, officer is anyways disqualified. His partner, his employee is also disqualified. Employee of the company anyways is disqualified. His partner, his employee is also disqualified. They are given here. Partner of the officer of the company is disqualified. Employee of an officer of the company is disqualified. Partner of an employee of the company is disqualified. Employee of the company is also disqualified. Okay, fine. Next, they are talking about a very, very important, what do you say, very, very important discussion on, okay, discussion. It says fourth disqualification, 141 subsection 3D. It says a person who or his relative or his partner, a person who or his relative or his partner. That means the disqualification could be because of that person, or it could be because of his relative, or it could be because of his partner. It could be because of that person, or it could be because of his relative, or it could be because of his partner. Okay, why is that person becoming disqualified? Because the person who or his relative or his partner, he is holding any security or interest. He is holding any security or interest where in the company, we'll see, they say in the company, okay, in the company, or in the subsidiary company, or in the holding company, or in the associate company, or in the subsidiary of such holding company. So if the person, his relative or his partner, okay, is holding, what are they holding? Security or interest, where either in the company or in the company's holding company, company's subsidiary company, or in the company's holding company, or in the company's associate company, or the subsidiary of the holding company. Okay, subsidiary of the holding company. Now listen to me carefully. Who is a relative and all, we'll see in some time. Okay, so this is what the point says. So if you or your relative or your partner is holding any security or interest in the company or in the company's subsidiary or in the company's holding or in the company's associate or in the company's subsidiary of the holding company, your company's holding company has another subsidiary in that company, then you are disqualified. Okay, then you are disqualified. Okay, because when you hold financial interest, like when you're holding a security, when you're holding a shares, the Companies Act feels it is a matter which could affect your independence. It's a matter which could affect your independence. Okay, fine. Now listen. Now let me ask you a few questions. Listen to me carefully. That means if there is Mr. X, he is a chartered accountant. Okay, he is holding shares. He is holding shares in ABC Limited. He is holding shares in ABC Limited. Can Mr. A chartered accountant in practice, who is holding shares in ABC Limited, can he be appointed as auditor of ABC Limited? Can he be appointed as auditor of ABC Limited? The answer is no. The answer is no. Do you understand? The answer is no. Why? Because he is holding shares. And shares is a security. Shares is a security. Next, if instead of Mr. X, the chartered accountant, imagine his relative is holding shares in ABC Limited. Imagine his relative is holding shares in ABC Limited. Can Mr. X be appointed as auditor of ABC Limited? Now, Mr. X is not holding. His relative is holding shares in ABC Limited. Can Mr. X be appointed as auditor of ABC Limited? Again, the answer is no. Again, the answer is no. Right now, the answer is no. Okay. Next, imagine it is not relative. Imagine the partner. It is the partner. It is a partner of ABC Limited, a partner of Mr. X, who is holding shares in ABC Limited. It is not Mr. X. His partner is holding shares in ABC Limited. In that case, can Mr. X be appointed as auditor of the company? Again, the answer is no. Now you understood the point. If I am holding, or my relative is holding, or if my partner is holding shares in ABC Limited or securities in ABC Limited, securities is the word, then I will be disqualified to be appointed as auditor of the company. Now my question to you, listen very carefully. If I am holding debentures in a company, Can I be appointed as auditor of that company? If I am holding debentures in the company, can I be appointed as auditor of the company? Debentures. Debentures also no. Why debentures also no? Because the word used is security. The word used is security. The word used is security. Do you understand? Security is the word being used. It's not shares. So even if I'm holding debentures, I'm disqualified. Now listen to me carefully. Now I'll come to the point. Some people are talking about some 1 lakh. Now I'll come to the point. Listen to me carefully. Now imagine, okay, just imagine you have a relative. Imagine you have a relative who is a chartered accountant. Imagine you have a relative who is a chartered accountant. Okay, brother, sister, anyone. He or she is the person who influenced you to come to CA. Now you are very angry with that person. Now you know that your relative is going to be appointed as auditor of a company. Okay, your relative is going to be appointed as auditor of a company. Okay, now you want to take revenge. When you know your relative who is a chartered accountant whom you don't like is going to be appointed as auditor of a company. To take revenge, what will you do? To take revenge, what can you do now? What can you do? I know in your mind already the thoughts are there and you have gone and purchased also. Okay, you have gone and purchased also. What can you do? Best thing that you can do, the best thing that you can do is purchase a security. Best thing you can do is purchase a security. The moment you purchase a security of the company, he will be disqualified. So Indian government, when they made Companies Act, they clearly know that relatives in India are waiting for such a chance. Indian relatives, they are waiting for a chance. So because they are waiting for a chance, what did the government do when they drafted the Companies Act? There is one sub provision only for a relative. There is a sub provision only for a relative. Now what does the sub provision says? It says a relative may hold security or interest in the company of face value not exceeding rupees 7 lakh. A relative may hold security or interest in the company of face value not exceeding rupees 1 lakh. So Companies Act says a relative can hold securities in the company up to a face value of rupees 1 lakh. That means this sub provision is only for whom? For a relative. That is why I told you that story. It is not for the auditor, the person or his partner. This 1 lakh sub provision is only for the relative. The relative may be allowed to hold security in the company of face value not exceeding 1 lakh. Please be very careful. Face value not exceeding rupees 1 lakh. So relative can hold face value not exceeding rupees 1 lakh. Not exceeding rupees 1 lakh means what? Up to rupees 1 lakh it is fine. It cannot exceed 1 lakh. Do you understand? So that means now if you want to take revenge on that relative, you should be holding securities whose face value is more than 1 lakh. Whose face value is more than 1 lakh. Imagine one share face value is 10,000, 10 rupees. Generally one share face value will be 10 rupees. That means you should hold more than 10,000 shares in that company, so that your relative will be disqualified. Do you understand? One share and all we could have purchased. Small amounts, sir, somehow we will purchase. But now you have this many shares and all, very difficult. So they are very good when they are drafting. They know who will be the person who will come in between all this. They know it's the relative. So clearly they have made a sub provision only for the relative. Only for the relative. Please understand, in the exam what they will say, I am a chartered accountant. I am holding shares in the company. Imagine face value is 90,000. I am a chartered accountant holding shares in the company. Face value 90,000. Face value 90,000. Can I be appointed as auditor of the company? Can I be appointed as auditor of the company? Can I be appointed as auditor of the company? Please tell me. Can I be appointed as auditor of the company? I am holding shares in the company. Face value is 90,000. Face value is 90,000. Can I be appointed as auditor of the company? Tell me. Yes or no? AJ says no. No, Dimple. Everybody, Sri Lekha, everybody is saying no. Why? Because I am holding securities in the company. I'll be disqualified. Do you understand? Now, if my partner is holding securities in the company, face value 90,000, can I be appointed? Again, answer is no. Now, my relative is holding securities in the company, face value 90,000. Can I be appointed? Answer is yes. Because in case of a relative, he may be allowed to hold securities in the company up to a face value of rupees 1 lakh. Up to a face value of rupees 1 lakh. Are you getting my point? Are you getting my point? Yes or no? Okay. Now come. Now listen. The discussion is not over. Now let me ask you a simple question. Let me ask you a very simple question. Okay. Very simple question. Now imagine that I am appointed as auditor of a company. Imagine that I am appointed as auditor of a company. Once I am appointed as auditor of the company, after the appointment, I'm also appointed as director of the same company. Okay, once I become the auditor of the company, after my appointment, they appoint me as director of the same company. Now what will happen? I am the auditor of the company. After I am appointed as the auditor, after that what happens is they appoint me as director of the same company. Now what will happen? What will happen? You tell me. Now what will happen? Tell me. In this case, what do you think will happen? 141 subsection 4 subsequent disqualification. Somebody is saying subsequent disqualification. Everybody says subsequent disqualification. Some people say disqualified, need to vacate as an auditor. Very good. Superb. So what happens here is I cannot continue as auditor of the company under 141 subsection 4. Very good, you are saying one subsection 4 because you see the wordings in subsection 3, my students. Subsection 3 is about shall not be eligible for appointment as auditor. Correct? 141 subsection 3 is shall not be eligible for appointment as auditor. Now this question is, he's already the auditor of the company. Then what will happen? I am asking you. Correct. Now the section will be 141 subsection 4. 141 subsection 4. Correct. Which is called as subsequent disqualification. What does 141 subsection 4 says? In case a person has been appointed as auditor of a company and after the date of his appointment, he incurs any of the disqualification mentioned in 141 subsection 3, then he will have to immediately vacate his office and such vacancy shall be considered as casual vacancy in the position of the auditor. Correct? Casual vacancy in the position of the auditor. So 141 subsection 4 talks about subsequent disqualification. Very good. Now please listen, very important point I am saying. When a question on disqualification is asked, you should be very careful. Either the question will be for appointment whether he is disqualified, or the question could be after appointment is he disqualified. If the question is for appointment whether he is disqualified, 141 subsection 3. If the question is after appointment disqualification, 141 subsection 4 with reference to 141 subsection 3 for the purpose of disqualification. Are you getting my point? Many people, many students forget 141 subsection 4 in the write in the answer because of hurry in writing the answer or because of the overconfidence in writing the answer. They always forget 141 subsection 4. What happens is when they write, they will be like, therefore he is disqualified for appointment. But you should read the question. Sometimes he would have been already appointed. So in that case, it is not for appointment, it is subsequent disqualification. Do you understand? Casual vacancy is what will come in that case. Okay, fine. Now listen to me carefully. Now I am the auditor of a company. Listen to me carefully. My relative is holding shares in the company. Face value 90,000. Face value 90,000. Can I be appointed as auditor of the company? My relative is holding shares in the company. Face value 90,000. 90. Can I be appointed as auditor of the company? Yes or no? The answer is yes. Why? Because relative is allowed to hold securities in the company up to a face value of rupees 1 lakh. up to a face value of rupees 1 lakh. That is why I am eligible. Now I become the auditor of the company. After I become the auditor of the company, you know what happens? The holding of the shares by my relative increased to 1,80,000. Increased to 1,80,000 face value. Increased to 1,80,000 face value. Now what will happen? After my appointment, relative holding went up to 1,80,000 face value. Now what will happen? Now what will happen? It has become 1,80,000 now. After my appointment. Now what will happen? Come on, my energetic students. Come on, give me a reply. See, even the power wants us to learn and study. It's staying with us. You understand? So till we can, we will continue. Okay, so even the power is with us. So I think everybody is positive that you have to study. So let's do it. Let's do it. Now, very good, very good, very good. Everybody is answering the right answer. In this case, what will happen is, my students, actually 141 subsection 4 could have hit now. Why? Because subsequent disqualification will come if the limit is more than 1 lakh after appointment. Yes or no? But only in this case, there is a point which says, in case, students may also note that in the event of acquiring any security or interest by a relative above the threshold prescribed, the corrective action to maintain the limits as specified above shall be taken by the auditor within 60 days of such acquisition or interest. Within 60 days of such acquisition or interest. Do you understand? That means you can take corrective action within a period of 60 days of such acquisition or interest. 60 days of such acquisition of interest. Okay, so what you have to understand is only in this case you are getting 60 days to take corrective action. What do you mean by corrective action? Bring back the limit to 1 lakh. So immediate effect of 141 subsection 4 will not be there. Immediate effect of 141 subsection 4 will not be there. Why? Because you have given a cushion of 60 days to take corrective action and bring back the limit of the relative to 1 lakh. Do you understand? Only in this case, nowhere else this 60 days is applicable. You will be immediately disqualified. Only in this case, you are getting a period of 60 days to take corrective action. Can anyone tell me why do you think the Act has given 60 days here to take corrective action? What is the motive behind? What is the intention behind this point? Intention behind this point. Corrective action means sell it. Correct. What is the intention behind giving 60 days? Why is the Act very particular in this case that 60 days can be given to take corrective action? 141 subsection 4 will not immediately hit. Come on. Negotiation. Mahitosh says negotiation with the relative. It looks nice, huh? Negotiation. You want to go and speak to the relative, convince him, give him tea, coffee, food, convince him, please buy, please sell, please sell. Reduce to 1 lakh. Relative is not under our control. Correct. Relative is never under our control. Every CA student knows about relatives. I don't have to explain much, I think. I will tell you what is interest in the company. I'll tell you. Sai Reddy, I'll tell you. Don't worry. Superb. I think few people, Chitra, Leena, so few people have replied. Tom also has replied. The most biggest issue here is bonus shares. Superb. The biggest issue here is bonus shares. That is the biggest issue here. Imagine that we were holding 90,000, my students. Reconstruction may happen. Correct. That is the situation. Reconstruction may happen. Internal reconstruction. Many things could happen. So in that case, what happens is bonus shares will be issued or reconstruction may happen, by which without the control of the relative itself, the amount, the face value might jump to what? 1,80,000. Like 90,000 became 1,80,000. You see here, something like a bonus share. So it is beyond the control, no? In that case, you cannot blame the relative, you cannot blame the auditor and tell him to immediately vacate. So the Companies Act is giving 60 days here. See, just for your information, I'm saying the intention behind certain points. Okay, the intention behind certain points is what they are saying. Okay, intention behind. So that is what the Companies Act is trying to bring up, this issue of bonus shares. Okay, now this is very important. Now let me ask you a question. Now somebody asked me, sir, what do you mean by interest? Interest. See, interest means security, or interest means something like a security, may not be a security. For example, a company limited by guarantee. Company limited by guarantee. There are no securities there, but it is limited by guarantee. Now you are a guarantor there. You are giving a guarantee in a company limited by guarantee. Now that guarantee will be called as an interest in the company. Do you understand? There you are not holding shares or security or some kind of other kind of any financial instrument is being issued, and you are, it has some value, some kind of, it gives you some interest in the company. In that case, you are holding it. It may not be considered as a security, but some kind of interest is a financial interest that you generate, like a security, like an ownership. Do you understand? That is basically called as interest in the company. Security or interest. That's how you have to read. Something like a security. Okay, fine. Something like a security. Sir, can you please repeat the reason of 60 days? The reason of 60 days I told you is bonus shares. See, what will happen is, my student, just see, imagine your relative was holding only 90,000 shares. Suddenly the company issued 1:1 bonus shares. So what he was holding, suddenly it became double. Okay, now the face value became 1,80,000. In that case, 60 days time is given to sell off your shares, whatever bonus shares, whatever you got. Do you understand? That is the intention. Just giving you a small knowledge, nothing from the examination perspective. Okay, nothing from the examination perspective. Okay, now listen carefully. Okay, now listen carefully. So, now my question, listen to me carefully now. Now, Mr. X, Mr. X, Mr. X, once again. Mr. X, okay, a chartered accountant in practice. Chartered accountant in practice. Mr. X, a chartered accountant in practice. His mother is a relative, everybody knows, his mother is holding equity shares, face value 90,000 in ABC Limited. Okay, listen to me carefully now. Now Mr. X is proposed to be appointed as auditor of PQR Limited, which is the holding company of ABC Limited. Now my question is, can Mr. X be appointed as auditor of PQR Limited? So his mother is holding equity shares of face value of 90,000 in ABC Limited. ABC Limited is a subsidiary company of PQR Limited, because PQR Limited is a holding company of ABC Limited. Now, can Mr. X be appointed as auditor of PQR Limited? Is the question. Yes or no? Please give me the answer. Yes. Some people are saying disqualified. Now listen to me carefully. Second reason why I have taken this topic. Okay, please understand. He cannot, please understand my students, he cannot be appointed as auditor of PQR Limited. He cannot be appointed as auditor of PQR Limited. Now, why he cannot be appointed as auditor of PQR Limited is the biggest question here. Why he cannot be appointed as auditor of PQR Limited? Okay, why he cannot be appointed as auditor of PQR Limited is the biggest question here. Why? I know you're shocked, Here, please listen, this point is very, very important. See this? The limit of rupees 1 lakh and grace period of 60 days would be applicable where securities are held in the company only. Where securities are held in the company only. Where the securities are held in the company only. Do you understand? In the company only. That means this point is similar to that of the company. That means that 1 lakh limit and 60 days is applicable when the securities are held in the company only. You will not get that benefit if the securities are held by the relative in the subsidiary company or holding company or associate company. There, the moment the relative is holding even one security, you will be disqualified. Only in the company only. Do you understand? Does it make sense? I'm not commenting on that. I'm just focusing on the provision. We are not using any sense or common sense here. I told you first. We are just focusing on the provision. It is clearly given in the textbook, CA final textbook, not my textbook, CA final textbook this is. How many of you will read this, you tell me? How many of you will read this, you tell me? Do you understand how nobody will read this? Everybody will take this lightly. Nobody will focus on this point. They will just feel, what is there, 1 lakh limit, 90,000 he can hold. Do you understand? It is only in the company because you see what is given here. It is given here, a relative may be allowed to hold securities in the company up to a face value of rupees 1 lakh. In the company. Do you understand? Please focus. Now you know why I have taken this chapter. Easy chapter. This is what they will ask you in case studies. And you will not be able to answer because you will take it very lightly. Do you understand? So please understand, it is only in the company. It is only in the company. Can you repeat with me? In the company. Once more. In the company. Again. In the company. Come on, repeat with me. I can hear you. In the company. Come on again. In the company. Do you understand? It is in the company. Don't forget. Because the main provision talks about all the companies. But the sub-provision says the 1 lakh limit will be applicable only in the company. Do you understand? So in this case, what has happened is, he is going to be appointed as auditor of PQR Limited, but unfortunately, his mother is holding shares in ABC Limited, the subsidiary company. Face value 90,000. Therefore, he'll be disqualified. Please stop thinking about the common sense and all that. Stop it. Just focus on the provision. I'm telling you, we need to get marks. We need to pass the exam. We are not lawmakers, not to prove anything to anyone. We just need marks. We need to pass the exam. 90% cases we have the logic. 95% cases we have the logic. 5% here and there we are not able to digest it. Accept it, no. Accept it. There must be something which we don't know. Why do you have to dig into it? If it is given like that, study it. More than enough. Do you understand? In the company is extremely important. Okay. Now, one thing please listen to me. While you learn company law, this is a very important, something like a tip for the day. I give you always tip for the day. When you learn law, okay, now what happens to every student is, now imagine he is from Kerala. Now you know how he will learn company law, these particular disqualification points. He will never learn it in English. He'll be like, the person is disqualified. Why is disqualified? It's like in Malayalam, in his mother tongue, he'll say, body corporate പറ്റില്ല, പിന്നെ കമ്പനീൻ്റെ ഓഫീസർ ആണെങ്കിൽ പറ്റില്ല, കമ്പനീൻ്റെ എംപ്ലോയി ആണെങ്കിൽ പറ്റില്ല, അവരെ പാർട്ണറിനും പറ്റില്ല, അവരെ എംപ്ലോയിക്കും പറ്റില്ല. In Malayalam, he'll keep on learning this. Now, if it's in Hindi, it's like officer नहीं होगा, एम्प्लॉई नहीं होगा, उसका पार्टनर भी नहीं होगा, उसका उसका एम्प्लॉय को भी ऑडिटर नहीं बना सकते. नहीं, अगर मैं या मेरा रिलेटिव और या मेरा पार्टनर वो कंपनी में शेयर्स खरीदता हूँ और सिक्योरिटीज होल्ड करते हैं, तो हम ऑडिटर नहीं बन सकते, मैं ऑडिटर नहीं बन सकता. एज लाइक दिस, you are comfortable in your mother tongue and you try to learn in your mother tongue. You're very comfortable there. But what happens in the exam, all the provisions are there in your mind, in your mother tongue. You're very confident. Now in the exam, you're writing. Whether you're writing in your mother tongue or English. Now there it is English. Now you start translating from your mother tongue to English in the exam hall in the 3 hours. And the translation will be the worst translation ever done by any person. All the meanings will change. All the sentence will change. And you will start losing marks. But you know everything. That is why students say, sir, I know everything. But I am not getting marks. Why? The medium is English. Learn in English. Understandability is fine. Repeat in English. Write in English. Do you understand what I am saying? This is what happens in law. You know everything, but you never try to remember it in English. Even when you are trying to remember the points, it's in your comfortable language. That should be avoided. That is your tip for the day. Avoid learning in the language that you like. You can here and there you can learn for the understandability purpose. But most of the cases, please learn in English. Repeat in English. Do you understand? That is very, 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 very important. In every case, this particular point that is given here, all these things is what the students will do. They will never focus on this. Don't you think what I'm saying is right? Don't you think what I'm saying is right? Don't you always try to have the translation done in the exam hall with whatever you are learning? That is the biggest disadvantage. Do you understand? So please make sure that you are learning it properly like this. See, these points, it may be noted that the condition of 1 lakh rupees, it may be noted that in the event of acquiring any security or interest by the relative above threshold prescribed, the corrective action to maintain the limits as specified above shall be taken by the auditor within 60 days of such acquisition or interest. How beautifully it is written. At least nearby to this, the answer should come. Do you understand? So please make sure that you are trying to reach this particular way of presentation, at least for law. Standards and auditing here and there, miscellaneous topics here and there, you can use your own words, but the important word in the sentence should be there. Okay, but law, take it from me, these kind of topics where you can score 4 out of 4, 5 out of 5, 2 out of 2. Don't lose your marks because of the language. Make sure your language is perfect. From today, do it. Okay, then they have given you the definition of relatives here. The relatives, who are relatives, they are clearly mentioned. These are your relatives. More than this, nobody else. These are your relatives. Now, don't have sentiments, sir, that relative I like, sir, that relative, he should be my relative. Nothing like that. Relative definition is purely, properly given here. So, that is why take the definition from here and you please make sure that the relative is taken. See, members of HUF, husband and wife. Then you have father, including stepfather, mother including stepmother, son including stepson, son's wife, daughter, daughter's husband, brother including stepbrother, sister including stepsister. You see, for daughter, it is just daughter. There is no step. Sir, why, sir? I don't know. Don't ask me. There is no stepdaughter. Son, stepson is there. So there is no stepdaughter. Be very careful here. Do you understand? So these are the relatives. Okay. Generally, I tell the students when this particular relative area and all, when you learn, it's like you can learn it in a little more fun manner. We try to sing a song, something like a rap. It's like, who are the relatives? Relatives are father step, mother step, brother step, sister step, son step, daughter. Why daughter like this? Because there is no step. Then son's wife, daughter's husband, spouse. Spouse is husband and wife. Do you understand? So sometimes, learning with a tune or learning with something like this can help you. Give a tune to something, just make a small song like this. It's very easy now. Just try to sing the song. It's very, very easy for you. Father step, mother step, brother step, sister step, son step, daughter, then son's wife, daughter's husband, spouse. Then you have HUF, all members of HUF. Because you are learning relative definition in Income Tax Act many places, you will get confused. So for Companies Act relatives, what do? You just keep on singing, make a song and sing. It's very, very easy. Okay. So basically you will have to learn this as per the, if you have this tune in your mind, it will be very easy. If you want, you can use. It's just my technique. I am not saying that everybody likes this, but sometimes it helps. Sometimes this helps. I know my students, even now they remember the definition of relatives because of this particular tune that we have learned in our regular batches. You understand? It works actually. Now, listen to me carefully here. In the examination, you know what they will do. In the examination, you know what they will do. They will ask you either listen to me carefully, they will ask you brother's wife or sister's husband. They'll ask you brother's wife or sister's husband. Tell me, is brother's wife a relative? 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 You tell me. Is brother's wife a relative? Brother's wife. Brother's wife a relative. Brother's wife is there in the lyrics of our song. Brother's wife. Is brother's wife a relative? No. Son's wife is a relative. Is sister's husband a relative? No. Daughter's husband is a relative. That is why I said they'll give you this. Because in the exam hall you'll get confused. They'll say brother's wife. You'll be like, somebody's wife is there. Son or brother. That is the confusion. Otherwise you'll say somebody's husband is there. Daughter or sister. That is the confusion. Do you understand? To create the confusion, surely it will be either brother's wife or sister's husband. Take it from me. But relative is not brother's wife or sister's husband. It is son's wife, daughter's husband. Okay? This is relative. Okay? Very good. Now, then they are talking about if this person or relative or his partner is indebted to the company, subsidiary, holding or associate or subsidiary of such holding company in excess of rupees 5 lakhs. If there is an indebtedness for an amount in excess of rupees 5 lakhs, then if you have provided any guarantee or security, for indebtedness of any third person for an amount in excess of rupees 1 lakh. All these are very simple. I am not going to these points. Okay, so indebtedness directly more than 5 lakh disqualified. Guarantee more than 1 lakh disqualified. Okay. Then they are talking about if a person or a firm who is going to be appointed as auditor directly or indirectly has business relationship. What relationship? Business relationship. With whom? With the company or its subsidiary or its holding or associate company or subsidiary of such holding company or associate company or of such nature as may be prescribed Okay. Come on, yeah, stepdaughter, why is it is included, not included? Stop that discussion, we'll see later. Whatever it is, we know stepdaughter is not there in the definition of relative. That's it. Whatever may be the reason. Okay, so let's focus. Come on. So what it says business relationship. If you, person or a firm, whether directly or indirectly, has business relationship with the company or its subsidiary or holding or associate company or subsidiary of such holding company or associate company of such nature as may be prescribed. Can you tell me, there is a list of company given here. Is there any difference with the list of company given here and the list before? Is there any difference with the list of company given here and the list before? That is the previous list. Previous we had a list, no? Set of companies. What is the difference? What is the difference? We have written a list of companies. See, what is the difference from this? In 141 subsection 4D, it was these companies. 141 subsection 4E, there are a list of companies. Company is there, subsidiary is there, holding is there, associate is there. There is also subsidiary of holding company. Here there is also subsidiary of which company? Associate company. Subsidiary of which company? Associate company. So you are saying subsidiary of holding company and subsidiary of what? Associate company. That is the difference. Are you getting my points? Previously it was only till subsidiary of holding company. Here it is still subsidiary of associate company. Subsidiary of associate company. Okay? Subsidiary of associate company. Can I ask you one simple question? What about subsidiary of subsidiary company? What about subsidiary of subsidiary company? Whether it is included in the previous point and this point. Subsidiary of subsidiary company. 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 No, no, no. Not covered, not covered, not covered. Are you sure? See, okay. Now listen carefully. Now listen carefully. There is a company called as A Limited. Okay, A Limited. Then you have a subsidiary company which is B Limited. Now B Limited has a subsidiary called as C Limited. Okay. So you are saying this is subsidiary of subsidiary company. Now you tell me, how is C related to A Limited? How is C related to A Limited? How is C Limited related to A Limited? Do you understand? Do you understand? You are not applying your mind. C Limited is subsidiary company only, no? See, subsidiary of subsidiary company is a subsidiary company only as per Companies Act. You don't have to specifically say subsidiary of subsidiary company. It is covered. Do you understand? It is covered under the definition of subsidiary company only. See a final, deep you have to think. You understand? All these things will come in it will come in MCQs. Be very careful. Be very careful. Okay. So basically, subsidiary of subsidiary is sub-subsidiary. There is nothing called a sub-subsidiary. It is subsidiary only. It is subsidiary only. Do you understand? Go through the definition of subsidiary company. You'll understand what I'm saying. Okay. You'll understand what I'm saying. So it is also covered. So they're saying if a person or a firm has business relationship. What do you mean by business relationship? It's as simple as when two people enter into commercial transaction. When two people enter into a commercial transaction, when a businessman and a person enters into a commercial transaction, it is a business relationship. It is a business relationship. When there is a commercial transaction between two people, it is a business relationship. Okay. Now imagine I'm a chartered accountant. Okay. Then I'm a chartered accountant. And I am giving. Or we'll do this way. I purchase some goods. Okay. I purchase a car from an automobile company. I purchase a car. Now, when I purchase a car from that company, I am their customer. Correct? Same like if I'm purchasing some items from Reliance company. If I'm a customer of Jio. So basically, Jio, if I'm using Jio SIM, I am their customer. The businessman and the customer will have something called as a business relationship. Correct? So the moment I am entering into a commercial transaction with the businessman or a company, I will have a business relationship with that company. But if you think this point in that sense, it is very difficult. It is very difficult to actually practically apply it. Why? Because it's like, if I am auditing a company, I cannot purchase anything from that company. It's like, imagine I'm auditing a particular company, a particular hotel, which is a company. I cannot eat from that hotel. Do you understand? Imagine that I'm an auditor of a hospital. There's a hospital. It's a company. I am the auditor of that company. And if I'm not well, I cannot go to that hospital. Why? Because if I go to that hospital, I'll become their customer, and as per section 141 subsection 4, I'll be subsequently disqualified. So that cannot happen. No. That is why what they have said is, they have excluded certain things from the definition of what? Subsidiary company. They have excluded. That is why, so not subsidiary company, business relationship. They have excluded certain things from the definition of what? Business relationship. They are saying the term business relationship is any transaction entered into for what? Commercial purpose, except if you are giving some professional services to these companies which are permitted to be provided, and second, you are entering into commercial transaction in the ordinary course of business at what price? Arm's length price, like sale of products, services to the auditor as a customer in the ordinary course of business for companies engaged in telecommunication, airlines, hospitals, hotels and such other similar businesses. Do you understand? So basically it's trying to say that if you are purchasing anything from a company which you are auditing, you can purchase it in the ordinary course of business, and at what price? At arm's length price. Okay, so it is trying to make sure the auditor can enter into a commercial transaction with the company in which they are doing audit. However, it should be in the ordinary course of business, and at what price? Arm's length price. And at what price? Arm's length price. What price? Arm's length price. Do you understand? Now, let me ask you a question. Okay. Listen to me very carefully. Let me ask you a question. An auditor, okay, purchased goods worth rupees 5 lakh 5,500 on credit from a company being audited by him. Okay, he was provided 1 month credit, normally allowed to any customer. Tell me what will happen. Tell me what will happen. An auditor purchased goods worth 5,05,500 on credit from a company being audited by him. He was provided 1 month credit, normally allowed to any customer. What will happen? Superb, superb. So I think now you know the concept. He is disqualified because why? This has nothing to do with the business relationship or arm's length price. The basic problem is he is indebted for an amount in excess of rupees how much? 5 lakhs. He is indebted for an amount in excess of rupees 5 lakhs. Now why I gave you this question, and second, listen to me carefully. You have to be very careful. You have to be very careful in this question. Now hence disqualified, everybody is saying. Many are saying disqualified, 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 disqualified. But do you understand? Is it 141 subsection 3 or subsection 4? Is it 141 subsection 3 or should you mention subsection 4? Should you mention one subsection 4 or is it just 141 subsection 3? Should you mention subsection 4 or is it just one subsection 3? So please understand, this is disqualified because he is indebted for more than 5 lakhs. He is indebted for more than 5 lakhs and he is subsequently disqualified under 141 subsection 4. He is subsequently disqualified under 141 subsection 4. Do you understand? 141 subsection 4 is applicable. That's what I told you. When the question is on disqualification, make sure you understand whether it is disqualified to be appointed or subsequently disqualified. Now this question is subsequent disqualification. You should be very careful here. He has purchased goods worth 5,05,500 on credit from a company being audited by him when he is auditing the company. Do you understand? So it is 141 subsection 4. 141 subsection 4. Okay, that is business relationship. Then next point is if your relative is a director or is in employment of the company as a director or key managerial personnel, then you are disqualified. Then next point is regarding 141 subsection 3G, which is ceiling limit. Ceiling limit of the auditor, which we'll discuss later. Okay, ceiling limit we'll discuss later. Next point, it says a person who has been convicted by a court of an offense involving fraud and a period of 10 years has not elapsed from the date of such conviction. That means if you have been convicted by a court, you should be very careful. Convicted by a court. Imagine they say by a tribunal. In the question they say by a tribunal. No. Convicted by a court of an offense involving fraud. Then you are disqualified for a period of how many years? 10 years from the date of such conviction. 10 years from the date of such conviction. Please be careful of by a court. By a court. They might give you something else. By a court. Okay. Then last thing is when you are providing any services mentioned in section 144, which is prohibited services. Which is what? prohibited services. If you are providing any services mentioned under 144 to the company or its holding or subsidiary company, these are prohibited services which you cannot provide. You will be disqualified. And they have given you the list of prohibited services: accounting and bookkeeping service, internal audit service, financial information system, then actuarial service, advisory service, banking service, rendering of outsourced financial service, management service, any other kind of service as may be prescribed. So these are the services which are prohibited. Very, 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 very important. Okay, very, 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 very important. Okay, these are prohibited services. These services cannot be provided. These services cannot be provided. These are prohibited to be provided. Okay, prohibited services, Yeah, Kashish, you are right. That is also a very important point. Offense involving fraud. Very good, Kashish. That is also a very important point. Offense involving fraud only. Offense involving fraud only. Yeah. So, yeah, there are some mnemonics that students are saying. Malayali students who are my students, they know a mnemonic called as IAD, Remini, IAA, I know that. Then academic. Okay, academic can be used. Remini says academic. Academic can be used. So mnemonics, very happy to see people are using mnemonics as we have told, but always try to, link your mnemonics with the heading. Now somebody says academic, you can just say academics is prohibited for the auditor under section 144. Just a small sentence to remember. Academics is prohibited for the services to be provided by the auditor, and academics is prohibited for the auditor under 144. Just remember that sentence. You'll never forget. Academics is for 144. Okay. Now, yeah, I think there is some buffering issue. Some people are saying maybe it is because of your the net connection, network connection there. Here things looks to be okay right now. Okay, but the internet connectivity is little less, as I told you. Today the power, some kind of issues were there, but still we are able to manage. I feel still things are able to be we are able to manage even if the supply is less. We are trying to get the maximum out of it. Okay, yeah, it's and also there is no AC. It's very hot. So because now the power, I think we might be able to continue maybe for 10-15 more minutes. Okay, we'll see that. Okay, now 141 subsection 4, that is we have already dealt with 141 subsection 4. Now let's discuss about appointment of auditors. Quickly discuss about appointment of auditors, section 139. Okay, I don't want to waste much of time in appointment of auditors. Very quickly. Okay, appointment of auditors of a company is divided under two sections, two different sets. One is appointment of auditors of other than government company, and appointment of auditors of what? Government company. When you are appointing an auditor of other than government company and government company, the provisions are different. Now please listen to me carefully. When you are appoint the auditor, there is a first auditor and a subsequent auditor. Yes. Now let's take case of other than government company. Other than government company, the first auditor of other than government company shall be appointed by the board of directors. Shall be appointed by the board of directors within a period of 30 days. 30 days from the date of registration of the company. So in case of other than government company, the board of directors shall appoint the first auditors of the company within a period of 30 days from the date of registration of the company. Okay, in case board fails to appoint, they shall inform the members, who shall within 90 days at an extraordinary general meeting. What meeting? Extraordinary general meeting, appoint the first auditor. So members will call an extraordinary general meeting to appoint the first auditor, and the auditor so appointed shall hold office till the conclusion of first AGM. Till the conclusion of first AGM. Till the conclusion of first AGM. That is appointment of the first auditor of the company, other than government company. Okay. Now please listen. Few things I want to tell you. Can you see here? Members are appointing at what? EGM. Now in the exam, can I write members appoint the first auditor? Can I write members appoint the first auditor 90 days in GM? Can I say GM? If I use the term GM, is it still right answer? 90 days in general meeting. Please tell me. Instead of writing EGM, I wrote GM, general meeting. Is the sentence still right? Or is there any mistake? You say there's a mistake if I write GM? It is not right. Why? Because when you say GM, GM includes both AGM and EGM. GM means AGM, EGM. Both comes as GM. General meeting is of two types. Either annual general meeting or extraordinary general meeting. So the moment you write the word GM, no, the meaning is it could be AGM or EGM. Many students, I am not joking, I have seen papers of the students. I don't know, careless mistake or writing mistake or over enthusiasm, something goes wrong in the exam hall and they forget the word A or E. They just write GM. Please understand, when you write GM, the whole section goes wrong because you are trying to say it could be in AGM or EGM. Do you understand? When the section clearly says it can be only in extraordinary general meeting, you have to completely write EGM, extraordinary general meeting. You understand? Don't try to write just GM there. Okay, that is first auditor. That is in case of what? First auditor. Auditor's term is only till the conclusion of first AGM. Conclusion of which AGM? First AGM. Now listen. Now first AGM, what will happen? Now let's go to subsequent auditor. Which auditor? Subsequent auditor. Which auditor, my students? Subsequent auditor. Okay. Now in the first AGM, who will leave his office? The first auditor. So when the first AGM concludes, the first auditor will leave. So you have to appoint the subsequent auditor in which AGM? In the first AGM. So the members in the first AGM will appoint the subsequent auditor. Will appoint the subsequent auditor. Do you understand? And the subsequent auditor will hold office from the conclusion of first AGM and it will go to the conclusion of which AGM? Sixth AGM. It will go to the conclusion of which AGM? Sixth AGM. So I repeat, it will start from the conclusion of first AGM and it will go till the conclusion of sixth AGM. Conclusion of which AGM? Sixth AGM. Do you understand? Conclusion of first AGM till the conclusion of sixth AGM. That is in case of which auditor? Subsequent auditor. Okay. Now, so he will hold office from the conclusion of first AGM till the conclusion of sixth AGM. And now in the sixth AGM, again the subsequent auditor will leave his office. You will appoint the next auditor who will hold office from that AGM till the conclusion of the sixth AGM from there. So every sixth AGM, you will again appoint an auditor of the company. Okay. Again in every sixth, then there are some doubts regarding what about 90 days, sir? Is it after 30 days? See, it is after the information that they receive from the board of directors. Don't take it as 120 days and all that. Nowhere in the act it is given like that. They are saying 90 days. Never, the act does not use the word next 90 days or whatever. They say the information passed from there 90 days. So don't write anything like next etc. in your answers. If it is given in the textbook, you write. If it is not given, don't write. Okay, I am that kind of a faculty. What is given in the book, you write. If it is not given, don't write. Even if we feel what we write is right, what we write is actually the proper way, still if what is given in the textbook is the ultimate answer that the institute will accept. Okay. Now, so now this is very important. Now somebody is saying that subject to rectification or subject to ratification. Please Shubham, just please understand that ratification point is now amended. It is taken off. It is not there now. There's nothing like ratification now. The ratification point is taken out. That is already amended. So don't write that point right now. Okay. So it starts from the conclusion of first AGM and goes to the conclusion of the sixth AGM. Now let me ask you a very simple question. Now please listen to me. I want the answer. Okay. I know these are very simple topics. So I'm not going deep into it, but I want some questions. I'll ask some questions. I need answers. Now imagine Mr. A chartered accountant. Okay. He is appointed as auditor in the first AGM. As what auditor? Subsequent auditor by the members. Okay, he is appointed as the subsequent auditor by the members in the first AGM. He will go till the conclusion of his term will end till the conclusion of which AGM? Sixth AGM. Which AGM? Sixth AGM. Correct? Conclusion of sixth AGM. Now my question is, a chartered accountant, practicing chartered accountant, appointed as a subsequent auditor by the members in first AGM. He holds office till the conclusion of the sixth AGM. Can you reappoint Mr. A as the auditor again in that sixth AGM? Can Mr. A be reappointed? Can Mr. A be reappointed? Now Mr. A is the retiring auditor. Can the retiring auditor be reappointed is my question. Can he be reappointed in the sixth AGM? Can retiring auditors be reappointed? Retiring auditors, can they be reappointed is my question. Can retiring auditors be reappointed? Can you reappoint retiring auditors? No, no, no. Cooling period, no, no, no. Fine. Are you all thinking about rotation of auditors? Are you all thinking about rotation of auditors? 139 subsection 2. Superb. Sorry, your answer is wrong. Now the question is, can retiring auditors be reappointed? Please understand, my student, the answer for this question is not rotation of auditors. Can retiring auditors be reappointed? Answer is yes. Every retiring auditor is eligible for reappointment, provided he is not disqualified, provided he has not expressed his unwillingness, provided no special resolution has been passed expressly stating that retiring auditor shall not be reappointed or to appoint some other auditor other than retiring auditor. If this situation has not happened, every retiring auditor is eligible for reappointment. Please understand, this is the general provision. Rotation of auditor is a specific provision, 139 subsection 2, which is applicable to only certain classes of companies. The moment 139 subsection 2 is applicable, the general provision goes down and the specific provisions will be applicable. Are you getting my points? If in the exam the question is, can retiring auditors be reappointed? Please don't write about rotation of auditor. That is not the answer. The answer is this. Do you understand what is the mistake that you do? That is why I have taken up this topic, this particular point. Okay, when the question is, can retiring auditors be reappointed? The answer should be yes, they can be reappointed, provided they are not disqualified, provided not expressed unwillingness in writing, provided no special resolution has been passed. Don't write about rotation, because our thought process will go to rotation. We'll say, no sir, if it is an individual, 1 term is over, 5 years cooling period. Firm, 2 terms over, 5 years cooling period. So they cannot be they can be reappointed only after the cooling period. That is the answer I have seen in the answer papers. But the question is not rotation. Can retiring auditors be reappointed? It's a general question. Answer is yes. Do you understand? Do you understand? See, can I tell you my experience? I have not seen you. I have not seen you all students in front of me. I'm just going through the reply that you give me. Based on that, I'll just give you, because most of the students are with me last 4 days. Yes, based on that, let me just give my thoughts. See, my thoughts is basically, you have read auditing. You have actually attended classes. Many of you know the concepts, know what is there. But you people lack in practicing questions. You're not able to understand the questions. I think what is happening is, even when you people are doing questions, you focus more on the answer rather than the question. You focus more on the answer rather than the question. I think you just keep on reading the answers. Questions are not read in a thorough manner. That is why there is a lack of understanding what the question is being asked. Do you understand? So, you should be very, very careful. You should be very, very careful. I personally feel, with the interaction that I've had with you all, I personally feel that you are little bit behind reading questions. Even in RTP, I've seen, okay, most of the students, the way they read RTP, they'll open the RTP. Generally, RTP is like, I will do RTP tomorrow. I will do RTP tomorrow. Tomorrow, it never comes. And ultimately, you do the RTP when? Previous day of the exam. You just postponed it and you do it in the previous day of the exam. Always, sometimes while during the travel to the exam hall also. Somebody will be reading RTP for you if you're going in bike. Other person will be listening also. Such postponement is there for going through RTPs. And when you go through RTP for theory, I've always seen, you will be reading the question, one hand will be there on the answers. No, one hand will be there on the answers. First question you will read properly. then you will go through the answer. Second question also you will read properly little bit. You will go through the answer. Third paper you will read, go through the answer. Fourth paper you are you will go through the answer. From fifth or sixth question, forget the question, you will just read the answers. This is what happens. This is what happens when you are I think when you are reading questions, you get bored by reading a question. You are more concerned what answer it is. If I know the answer, you feel you will be able to write the answer in the exam. How can you write an answer if you don't know the question? See, how do you do a problem paper? You focus more on the question. You have seen problem paper, what happens? You read a question so many times. I'll tell you the comedy now. In problem papers, what happens is you read the question so many times, okay, but you don't practice the problem. So there, ulta, you know the question, you don't remember the answer because you have not practiced it. You get stuck somewhere. Theory opposite. You know the answer, you don't know for which question it is. Do you understand? You don't know for which question it is. Problem paper just opposite. Like, this problem I have done. This problem I have done. I know the final answer also, but I don't remember how to do it. Because you have not practiced the answer there. There, practicing the answer is important. In theory, what you are doing? Read all the answers. Don't look at the question only. You know the answer. Tomorrow when you see the question, which question is this? Then you go home, you're like, oh, this question I had known the answer. If I had known this is the question, I would have written. Do you understand? This is what is happening with the students. So realize your mistake. Please go through the questions properly. Please go through the questions properly. It's very, 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 very important. Questions, extremely important. Do you understand? That is something you have to please work on. Please work on that question area. Okay, so that is why this areas you are not able to focus. Somebody told me please discuss 143 subsection 3. Surely I'll discuss. 143 subsection 3 also I will discuss. Okay, I will discuss that. I know it is little tough. I will discuss that. Okay. So I told you about this power thing. I think it is finally there is some the power might just go off. So I think for the today we'll just wind up the session. I'll continue company audit tomorrow. And I will surely continue the session. I will not finish it in 5 days. I have 1 or 2 days I will extend. On Sunday you will not have, but I will tell you next week when I will come. I will tell you in the Telegram channel. But I will keep 1 or 2 days more class for you all. Okay. Right now I think it might just go off now. Power might just go off. So I think for the day we have discussed few things. I'll continue with company audit tomorrow, and the other sections also I will surely continue. Okay. So there is fine then. Thank you so much everyone. I think everybody who attends the session is throughout there in the session that I am taking. That's something wonderful. You know, throughout the session I see the students. They are there from the start till the end. It's very, very encouraging for me as a faculty to see the students are sitting with me till the end. You know, that is something which is really, really, really appreciable and which gives me more energy. You know, my biggest strength is to give you a lot of energy. The sound, the energy that I have to give you. So right now, because it's very hot also, so I'm not able to completely give that 100% maybe in the coming minutes. So that is why I think it is good to wind up. We'll continue tomorrow with company audit. Okay, we'll continue tomorrow with company audit. Thank you so much. It's been a wonderful session today also. Please sleep well. I've given you the tip for the day. You have to read questions. You have to do questions. Questions is something you have to do. And I told you, learn in English. That is the most important part. Learn in English. That has to be done. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. It has been a very nice session. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow. Bye. Bye. See you tomorrow.